Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels look to be a favorite to make the 12-team college football playoff after assembling one of the most talented rosters in all of college football. These are my best and worst case scenarios for the Ole Miss Rebels in the 2024 college football season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Also, guys, check out the podcast, which drops daily on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media platforms everywhere, including also our website, SECUnfiltered.com. The following is brought to you by our friends over at RHOBACK. Guys, head over to RHOBACK.com, and when you do, use the promo code SECU at checkout to get 20% off your entire first purchase. Guys, whatever you need, RHOBACK is there. They got polos, they got quarter zips, they got hoodies, they got pants, shorts, you name it, they got it. Guys, I was at the Masters last week, and let me tell you, when I say I saw that dog logo, that RHOBACK logo everywhere, I mean, it was all over the place, especially their Azalea collection, which is out for a limited time. You want to make sure you act now and get in on that Azalea collection. Also, guys, hey, SEC folk, SEC fan, whatever state it is you're in, the state of Mississippi, the state of South Carolina, the state of Tennessee, they've got, or whatever it may be, they've got a state collection with the polos, with the state all over it, essentially. Go to their site. You'll know what I'm talking about. And, guys, with weather warming up, tailgate season is here, golf season, baseball season, spring game season, football season, just around the corner. You want to make sure you're outfitted with our friends over at RHOBACK. So, again, use that promo code SECU at checkout to get 20% off. RHOBACK.com, promo code SECU at checkout, 20% off your entire first purchase. Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels are set to contend for a college football playoff appearance this season after their first 11-win season in school history a year ago. These are my best and worst case scenarios for the Ole Miss Rebels in the 2024 college football season. And, guys, let me preface by saying this. Best case and worst case. These are not predictions, okay? And when I say best case and worst case, it's not as simple as, oh, best case is 12-0, worst case is 0-12. These are realistic best case and worst case scenarios, okay? So every football team has different question marks. Best case is assuming the question marks work out in the positive. Worst case is assuming the question marks work out in the negative. So just wanted to preface that there. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and pull up the 2024 Ole Miss football schedule. And, guys, for a team that is looking to capitalize off momentum from a season ago and off-season momentum. When you talk about what they did in the transfer portal, guys, of course, flipping this roster overnight, assembling one of the best rosters we have seen in the SEC when you look at SEC star talent all over the field. Guys, you could not have asked for a better schedule. I mean, flat out, you could not have asked for a more favorable schedule. Now, there's no such thing as an easy schedule in the SEC. There's just some that are more manageable than others. But, I mean, guys, this is as manageable as it gets. Essentially, and Ole Miss folks would agree, essentially, the first 4 weeks of the season for Ole Miss are like training camp. It's like the preseason with Furman, Middle Tennessee, at Wake Forest, and Georgia Southern. All due respect to those programs. Those are going to be 4 butt whoopings more than likely. You then open SEC play against Kentucky, but that game is at home. You got back-to-back tricky road games at South Carolina. The Juice Wells storyline is going to be one that's going to be fascinating to watch and follow. So that game can be tricky, especially if that game's at night. Williams-Brice Stadium, one of the most difficult places to play in college football, at LSU. Don't have to say a whole lot there, guys. Ole Miss fans, very well aware with the challenge of winning in Death Valley. And, of course, after last year, Ole Miss beating LSU in that dramatic game, you know LSU is going to be fired up wanting to win that one. You get Oklahoma at home. You go to Arkansas. You get Georgia. That game is at home, though. You go to Florida, and then Mississippi State at home. So the good news is this, guys. The majority of your difficult games are at home. Georgia, Oklahoma, and again, you do have to go to LSU. That one's really tough. At South Carolina, tricky, but that is a game also you should win. So, with that being said, let's talk best case scenario. And guys, there's only one or two SEC teams that I have given this nod to because it feels aggressive in the SEC, especially with Oklahoma and Texas joining the league. But with this roster and what Lane Kiffin and company did, the portal king himself over the offseason, and you look at this schedule, you look at the way that Jackson Dart, this entire football team are going to be able to build momentum early and get on a roll, I do not think it is a stretch to say that Ole Miss football, best case, can go 12-0 this season. I'm a believer in Ole Miss. I'm a believer in the hype. I'm a believer in the things and the pieces they added, especially on the defensive side of the football. Guys, the offense is going to be one of the best in college football. You got the trigger man in Jackson Dart. Ulysses Bentley is back. I think the running back position is going to be more than fine. Wide receiver is loaded. Juice Wells, who I talked about, they added, guys, he may be their fourth receiver. And you think about that. Juice Wells was a guy that was looked at as an All-American at South Carolina. He's not even going to be in their top three receiver rotation more than likely. That's how deep they are. Caden Prescorn, he returns at the tight end position, emerged a weapon late last year. So they're loaded offensively. They added name after name after name on the defensive side with guys like Walter Nolan, Pooh Paul Jr., Princely Uman Mielen, Trey Amos. The list just goes on and on and on. This roster is talented enough to go 12-0. Guys, you don't get Alabama on this schedule, right? You do have to go to LSU. You do have Georgia. But you're telling me Ole Miss can't pull that upset at home? They just beat LSU last year. I think the ceiling is incredibly high. The floor, I think, is high as well, which we'll get there in a moment. But 12-0, my best case scenario for Ole Miss football. I do think it's possible. Now, worst case scenario. And again, guys, I think the floor is incredibly high for this football team. I really do. When you have the sheer amount of talent that they do, they're not going to lose a lot of games. They're not going to lose a lot of games. Worst case would be assuming the only thing I think that could throw off this season is if these transfer portal pieces, for whatever reason, just don't come together from the standpoint of the locker room. If they don't mesh. If egos are running wild and there's drama in the locker room. Like, that's the only way, I think, guys. As long as they're able to keep egos in check and keep everyone on the same page, Ole Miss is going to be fine. And, guys, with this roster they've put together, dare I say anything less than 10 wins is a failure? I mean, is that fair? Fair or not, it's the truth. My worst case scenario for Ole Miss, I've got 9-3. I mean, guys, really, truly, I think the floor is that high, right? I mean, you look at the games they're going to be favored in. Who are they not going to be favored against? Probably Georgia at home still, and maybe at LSU. Outside of that, you're going to be the favorite. You should beat Kentucky. You should beat South Carolina. You should beat Oklahoma at home, Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi State. The only games in question that should be in question are LSU and Georgia, really, truly. And I know that's not how it works. The SEC is difficult. I totally acknowledge that. But, guys, even worse case, LSU, Georgia, and then maybe you get upset by an Oklahoma, maybe a South Carolina, maybe in the swamp, Florida's got something going. Maybe you get upset. But I think the floor is extremely high for this football team. I really do. So, when it comes to Ole Miss, guys, best case scenario, I got 12-0. Worst case, I got 9-3. What do you see as the ceiling and the floor of the Ole Miss Rebels in the 2024 college football season? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that bell icon as well so you get notifications of when we go live and when we drop new video content, which is each and every single day. Also, guys, check out the podcast, which drops daily, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find the latest from us across all social media platforms as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. SECU.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.